All right, guys, welcome to my lecture on the cause and effect essay. As always, I'm going to start with a screen share. And let me get that into our full modality here. So cause and effect writing, the first thing I want to touch base on is how cause and effect help you. So cause and effect writing actually helps you to better understand the writing of a report. If you can understand the cause of something and the effect and outcome it had, it's a lot easier to write a report. And I'm not talking about a report for school or a book report. I'm talking about a report for work. Let's say you have an incident that happens and your supervisor or your boss asks you to fill out an objective report of the events that happened. Well, you would have that chronological knowledge, this led to this, led to this, led to this, to be able to fill that out. And you will already have the skill set to do so because you learned about cause and effect in here. Another way that this can be used in a setting outside of school is that analyzing a situation after the fact. So a lot of times in our careers, we look back and we reflect on with our peers and our coworkers what could have been done better. And so it allows us when we have the tools from writing a cause and effect paper, we actually have the tools to analyze a situation after the fact in our own real world scenarios. So taking a look at all the data and reflecting on it and being able to see, okay, well, this worked really well, but it caused this issue. How can I fix it? And when you have those kind of tools and you have that kind of skill set, it makes you a more effective employee and a more effective worker. It also gives you those critical thinking skills that help set you up for big picture projects. For example, let's say at work you have this very large project that you're going to have to do either on your own or with coworkers. You can kind of look at that big picture project and you can almost plan out what the steps will be that would lead you up to that point and kind of scaffold that project up for success instead of feeling overwhelmed with, oh my goodness, I have this huge project and I have to be able to complete it and I have no idea where to start. Instead, use those cause and effect skills, and it might be even unpacking it. Maybe you know that the big project is here. Well, what's the step right before that? Okay, great. What's the step right before that? Okay, great. Well, what's the step right before that? Until you get to the point where you have a backward outline of where you should start so that you can build up to this final project. And that is really how cause and effect can help you beyond this classroom. And I think that's important to know and to understand before we get into the cause and effect essay. So the cause and effect essay does have three main components. You have your introduction, your body of the essay. Do not give me a 5-paragraph essay. Do not give me just 3 paragraphs in the body. Don't do it. Don't do it. I don't do 5-paragraph essays. And then you have your conclusion. So the introduction, your brainstorming. This portion of your paper, you want to present your readers with a clear thesis that you then set out to prove. So it's really this leads to this kind of a statement that you're going to set up for your readers for success and to make the objective of your paper clear without having to say, this paper will prove, or in this essay. Yeah, don't use those phrases. At this level, you're above the use of such phrases. So please eliminate them from this paper and all future papers. Instead, present your topic or present the event in question, and then briefly state the scope of your analysis without saying, I believe, I feel that, in this essay, or this paper will prove. Take those out. Don't use those. Just give us the scope of the analysis. What do I mean by the scope of the analysis? Well, as I said earlier, this led to this. Nice and simple. And state it as fact because you are going to try and prove it. So for the body of the essay, this is where you get to figure out the structure of your essay. And there's no one set structure for a cause and effect because it really does depend on what you're analyzing and the tone that you want to set for your reader. So this is where you're going to set out to prove the relevance of your cause and your effect to the subject at hand. So this could be arranged from the most significant impact to the least significant impact. Or maybe vice versa. Maybe you want to look at the least significant and go to the most significant. Maybe you want to capture that most significant item first because you want to get your audience on board right away with what you're saying before you slowly wind down with the other points and then wrap up with the conclusion. Or maybe you want to build up to the most significant and catch your reader off guard with the biggest details that support your stance on this cause and effect. In that case, you would start with the least amount of impact and build up to the item with the most amount. Another construct for your cause and effect could be a timeline. It might be doing an essay where you're focusing on an event, and in order to construct that one item, you might be looking at how the order of events actually built up to this main event and explain how all of these little steps led to this one big item, this one big event. It could be a matter of looking at how one event had a cascade effect, and it resulted in all these effects out here. One event caused all this. And so really, however you're going to structure your essay, the one thing that's clear is that you're going to have a very clear understanding of your topic and the purpose for your essay and your specific take on this cause and effect and the tone that you want to present, or the overall impression that you want to leave on your reader. So with that in mind, you really do want to write your thesis first. This will guide you through your organization of your paper, no matter which format you choose to follow. And then finally, we have the conclusion. This is where you're really wrapping up the essay. And it's a reflection on the causes and the effects that you illustrated in the body of the essay. So the real aim here is to draw your conclusions without stating, as I have shown, or as you can see. Instead, spend this area cementing that relationship between the causes and the effects that you presented in your paper. You want to cement that so solid that your reader knows without a shadow of a doubt that this caused this. And they have that very strongly in their mind. So some tips for writing your cause and effect. The first one, always pick a topic that sparks your interest. When you're interested, you're going to have a stronger analysis with better elaboration. So I don't care what paper you're writing, always pick one that sparks your interest. And then I want you to consider, short and long-term cause and effect. When you narrow down to just the most important cause and effect, you're going to be able to better break things down into categories that'll help you manage your content. So don't feel like you have to condense your entire project, but do make sure that your focus is on the connection between your cause and effect. You don't want to give us all these extra details that we don't need. Focus instead on that connection. You might need to give us a few background details, and that's okay. When there needs to be background details, please fill that in. But really focus on the connection. And then you want to narrow down broad subjects to the most important, just those most important cause and effect. You want to make sure you've got clarity, structure, and that you're successfully demonstrating those connections. For your outlines, Okay, you better make sure that you completely ignore the 5-paragraph essay. I do not accept 5-paragraph essays. There's a better way of writing, and I want you to find it. Your first source is a cause and effect overview. Your second source is really, in my opinion, it's the ideal source, because the first one, while it glances over what a cause and effect is, gives you a basic idea, the second one, in all honesty, directs you toward not just the cause and effect, but it gives you multiple types of outlines that you could use, as well as a guide video. And so that's the one I would really strongly emphasize that you follow. These are going to be found in your student resources. They're going to be found in the announcement that goes out with this video. You know, do look for these resources. Do make sure that you are using these resources to your benefit. All right, guys, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please do not hesitate to send me an inbox message using the LMS inbox emailing system. I don't care if you are on BrightSpark, Canvas, or Blackboard. Please use that system to email me so that I know it's coming through. Questions, comments, or concerns, let me know. And if you're just watching this for educational purposes, I hope it helped.